you can encapsulate the cleanliness of a restaurant in a grade. You really can't encapsulate a child in a grade. I would say the other side of it that I feel like is so insane is that we created the system without the kids. We're creating them. They don't usually have a choice of the class they're in. Um, there's not enough choice in our system. The other side of that is, do they get to grade us? No, not usually. And that would certainly be a helpful thing in many situations. But ultimately, I think if you can get rid of them altogether, and I remember I had a son. I was successful in the academic game. I went to public school. I also went to the Emma Willard School. There's a representative, which was phenomenal because I could do exactly what I wanted. I went to Skidmore, studied art, and then I learned a little bit about robots. I learned from somebody named Seymour Papert many years ago, if anyone used the language logo. I then ended up working with him for 20 years. Um, and then I had a kid who I had to pull out of school and homeschool. And I'd had all this success. And I'm like, but he's really smart. I know you love your kid, but I could tell he was really smart. And one night while he was still in school, before I had to pull him out, he's doing some homework. And I'm like, well, I think we're almost done. He goes, Mom, I don't care. I like this. I want to do this. And I was like, that's the whole problem, is when you are motivated, the grade means nothing. So if you are in a system, and that's, really Pollyanna, and we can't all be there, but if you're in a system where you have to have grades, create the system with your children. Don't just put it on them. Make it a system that you do together so that they have a role in it. And I do think that children can grade. You can have a sit down. How did I do in teaching you this? How do you feel like you did in learning this? What a different dynamic that is. So I think I would like to have my panelists talk.
Well,
If
that's wonderful, wonderful. Yeah, moving on to our advocate, Brenda. We know that we know that you're doing tutoring, and this is one of the things that I love about my panelists. You get to work with younger students. By the time they get to the college level, they're already messed up, and you guys get a better opportunity. But tell me, how does the letter grade affect you as a tutor, and why do the students come to you, and how does it all come together for you?
Okay, well, I take on opportunities with students from middle school through college and even up to adults in 80 years. Okay, so that's anybody who has challenges in any topic because we all go to school to learn at any age. But in middle school, there are lots of challenges because they've missed opportunities for one reason or another in the lower grade levels. And in junior high, because there is a distinction between middle school and junior high, again, there's a gap. There are individuals who are sick and just can't go to classes. There are individuals who have been homeschooled and all of a sudden they're thrown into school. Um, there are individuals who are trying to really, really excel. And it's not necessarily their parents pushing them, but they're pushing themselves. And so they have all of these academics and it's amazing to see the subjects they're taking, but they're not happy with an A. They want 110. And so that's amazing. And but then we also have those students whose parents are pushing them. But most of the time when the parents are pushing them, they're getting lessons for their students because they want the tutor to do the work for them. But I'm not going to do that. So as far as the letter grade goes, the students that are challenged, I'm an advocate for them because I had learning challenges myself that weren't identified until I was in my 50s. And there's no medication out there that's going to help me, trust me. And so I'm not medicated, and what's worse is would to be self-medicated, right? But mm, I can really associate with these students and what their challenges are. Let me tell you a quick story. Can I go on?
Please.
Okay, a quick story. This individual, really smart, from a culture that is known for really smart individuals. And immediately I thought, I'm going to have a challenge with this one because he was analytical and mathematically inclined, and I'm not. I'm just the opposite. But I went ahead and accepted him because he chose me. For some reason, our profiles are up there, and he chose me. So he comes on, and bam, right out of the gate, I see him, he sees me, but what I also see in the background is me on a big screen. Okay. So he has me blown up on the wall. And I also see people in his dorm room. Okay. So I'm like, I don't know if I'm comfortable with this. And he also has a headset on. So it's like a headset you'd see with the DJ. So I'm expecting him to bust out with some kind of rap stuff any second. So I'm thinking, this is one smart ooby dooby, you know? Why does he need tutoring? It turns out that he had some special problems and he doesn't necessarily always take his medication. And we know how challenging that can be sometimes. And sometimes they just run out of it, yada, yada, yada. But he came to me with a D, okay, the first semester with a D. And by the spring semester at the end, he had an A, and I still have that message. And he thanked me profusely. But what had happened between the D and the A was if he had me blown up on the wall and he had on his gear to DJ, I knew there was talent there that was not being recognized. So when he introduced to me, which is a prerequisite, they have to tell me what they're learning in class or supposed to be learning. I took the opportunity to incorporate his likes and dislikes into, how I was teaching him his vocabulary or reintroducing his homework. So basically, it was just rehashing what his instructors had already told him. And this wouldn't be just one subject, it would be different subjects. But that was really exhilarating for me. One of my success stories.
All right. Well, thank you for that. And there's probably more. We're going to move on to our disruptor. Vanessa, how are you?
Yeah, that was just a
It was
nice
the easy
introduction.
question. No, I wanted to give you the easy question. No, you are the founder of KFS School in San Francisco, and we know that your students are individualized, right, when it
Yeah.
comes to their learning at your school. So can you explain a little bit more about what twice exceptional means? Let's hear about that.
So, is anyone familiar with that term? Raise your hand, please.
Oh, good.
So, this has been a term that's been going around a lot. And I started the school 8 years ago. So, just a little background about myself, I actually graduated high school with a 1.87, um, diagnosed at 26. Yes. So, I feel like my karma in life was to go back to school. So, why not start a school with a mental health background? So, here we are. And I was working with one of my companies. We provide support professionals in schools, which I call social coaches. And three of the kids just got kicked out. I'm like, where are they going to go? So this is how the school started. I have zero teaching background. So I've had to reteach, just how to teach these kids that, I I'm like, I don't hear sounds. There's my teacher right there. She does all the phonics because I won't hear anything. So the school's kind of started with the kids helping with the curriculum. And a lot of these kids that are twice exceptional are very high, in certain areas, but maybe lower in a different area, which is more the social emotional piece, correct? So I've developed a whole curriculum called the 3R method, which is redo, rewind, and repair around this population, along with parents. So San Bernardino just picked it up for parent workshops for tier 3 families, hoping that they could see a difference in the relationship. They'll see a difference in the academic, achievement in the classroom. But where I come from is including the child in everything, right? So when you say, like, do you grade yourself? Yes, they grade me. It's a conversation. How did I do there? Did I overreact? Yes, you did. Like, how can we do this again? And we do with the academic testing when it comes. A lot of these kids are coming from different schools and different backgrounds, which they've already had a really bad experience. So what is broken down? They don't have trust. So when you're giving them you're trying to assess where they are, I'm like, say, forget everything. Let's build a relationship first. And that's where I'm coming from. Because when you come from the relationship based approach, that's where you're going to see the difference in the child academically and everything else. Also, does the child understand how they learn? So that's what I'm passionate about is like, okay, how do we teach the child? Okay, does this make sense? How do I know that you're going to come to me that this was really hard? How can I make it different? How do I teach a child to self regulate and also advocate for themselves? You know, was that the right choice to make? I'm always giving choices. I'm never telling a child what to do. You know, it's in a structured way, of course, but that, yeah, it's like, are we going to do this paper or this one next? What do you feel is right? Or what else would you like to do differently? So I feel like the more you include a child, especially a child that has, you know, is very, what's the word I'm looking for? Black or white thinking. Like the gray area is like, huh? What are we gonna do? Like for a kid, I was holding my laptop and we were in an argument. I'm like, can we just drop drop it? He just dropped my laptop. Like he just dropped it, and I'm all, I meant the subject. Like, I mean, that's the stuff. It's like language matters, right? And like how we ask the child to do things, and it's very different in how you talk to it to the child. So I feel like when you're having a strong relate between the teacher and the child, when you're looking at that, when you have that relationship and it comes to grading and academics, you can get so much information. And that's where I come from. That's my passion. So KFS school is in San Francisco. We have bike desks, movement desks. It's all flexible seating. I always, parents call, like, do we need to have a social skills group? Actually, this is 6 hours of social skills on top of it because we're doing the 3 R's every which way. And when the child learns to advocate for themselves, that's when you're going to see a difference in their self-esteem, feeling good about themselves. And that all correlates to academics too. So thank you.
All right. Well, for those, before we hear from our last panelist, the pioneer, if you are imagining questions that you might have for any of our panelists, the innovator, the advocate, the disruptor, and the pioneer, maybe we can get that mic hot and you guys could pretend that it's happy hour and start lining up and waiting your turn now. Okay. Having said that, thank you for the laughter. Moving on to Dr. Matthew, the pioneer. Almost 30 years ago, you were the founder and the forerunner of the Good Project, right? So first of all, we want to hear about the Good Project, and especially as it relates to good work and good citizen as standards above and beyond or in place of the letter grade dilemma.
And just to repeat what we've heard, as a teenager, I found school kind of unengaging. I was a fine student, but unengaging. I found when I got an A, myself and my friends wanted better. And then we were twice exceptional in many ways. And so I went looking for answers. And I went finding my favorite teachers, and I was lucky enough to come across three men that were at the Stanford Institute for the Advancement of Behavior Sciences. Howard Gardner, who's most known for multiple intelligences. Mihai Csikszentmihalyi, who's maybe most known for flow, this state of optimal experience, how you kind of push your ability level to meet the challenge. And then Bill Damon, who's my advisor at Stanford, who is really known for self-understanding. We were doing work on purpose, and Jeff and I have connected a lot. We have lots of metrics on what's that overarching, what's the reason, the answer why you're doing everything in life, but also learning this lesson. Robotics is engaging, right? So these kids engage because they're building something. What happened with the Good Project from the 1990s was nobody really knew what good work meant. So we surveyed college students and professors. Guess what? Professors are trying to pass along wisdom and morality and all these ideals. Almost every single college student is just going and they say, I want a better paying job. Right? So the Good Project and good work and good citizenship really challenges us. Look, if we're talking about good work, there's some kinds of grade. Good citizenship is almost lacking. It's something we're just not even evaluating. We'll open it up a little bit more, but Jeff, I want to give one more plug because he's going to be embarrassed. This man, our moderator, wrote The Integrity Game. And one of the examples that rings with me is, think of a hot dog vendor. A 15-year-old can sell hot dogs at a baseball game. He's got all genius things like this. But think, there's a purpose. He has a strategy. He has goals. He modifies those things. These are all things that are often missed when we're grading a math test or even an essay. So I look at that, and thank you, Jeff, for moderating that. He's passing it along to us to share the wisdom, but without that question, when we're talking about this grading dilemma, what's missing when we're just putting that A and B? That's kind of what I put back to the group.
Yeah, unaccustomed as I am to public speaking and, unexpecting as I was for that transition, the integrity game is something that I will be speaking about a little bit tomorrow on the panel that I'm on. I'm not moderating that one. This amazing woman named Nadine is going to be our moderator, and I can't wait. And so if you want to make sure that you get to that panel in the morning, but just to pick up on what you said, the integrity game, how many of you believe you have integrity? Right? Yeah, yeah. So it's something that we want to associate with, but the A word, accountability, is something, oh, right? So accountability is always going to feel like an attack when we're not ready to be 100% responsible for our own behavior. So how can we make accountability non-threatening? So the integrity game is a parable. It lays out a 10-point model, and it's just what Dr. Matthew said is we want what all of you have said: get them engaged, show them the love, get them to believe in themselves, and then they'll run through a brick wall to teach themselves and learn with and from each other. But most students, they're only taking the course because I have to. Right? That's the other question I ask on day one. How many of you are taking this public speaking course, let's say? How many of you are taking oral comm public speaking because you want to be a public speaker? You want every dollar you earn the rest of your life to come from public speaking. You can't buy a car, can't buy a house, can't buy food, can't buy clothes unless you speak. Crickets. Okay. If I want a better response, I have to ask a better question. How many of you are taking this class because you have to? And all the hands go up. Okay, well, hang on a second. I'm the one that's standing in front of 30 adults that don't want to be here. How about a little love for the professor? What would you do if you were me? I know you're afraid of public speaking, but a little love for the professor, please? So to me, it's all about engagement. It's all about taking the time to get to know them and know what they want, helping them somehow see why. Why do you have to? Why, how on earth could public speaking be important? And if they can connect to what's in it for them to be there other than just the letter grade, it's funny when students come up to me, Jeff, I tell them to call me Jeff. Jeff, I didn't turn in my assignment. Can I still turn it in? Well, of course you can, but are you going to? Will I still get credit? Oh, there you go. Tap in your vein again for points like a heroin addict. You're only going to do it if you get the points. And that's what we're creating in this world. Let me get back to Laura. Laura, we want to change it, don't we? We don't want to just complain about it. We want to change it, don't we? All right. So I want to ask you about systematic change. How would you begin to change the system?
I would begin. I was talking with Vanessa about at the end of the day, she does a session with robotics with her kids every single day. I would observe the difference. I think the change is not with the kids, the change is with us, the adults. So there's two things. In these 26 years of running my company, I've received 3 National Science Foundation grants. The one I'm on now is to improve the teaching and learning of mathematics in first, second, and third grade using this little robot called the Finch, which I don't sell, but I love the robot. And if anyone wants to learn more about it or me, please come see me. But the change is with the teachers. And so to begin with, you have to notice how the students are acting differently when they're in the driver's seat. And then you have to find other opportunities for this. I think that really the students are ready for this. They're ready not to be dumbed down. They're ready to have more control. It comes down to making your teachers understand their role as sort of the coach, the guide on the side, these very, known phrases. I think the other part of this is really good curriculum and really good curriculum that students love. And that is not easy to find. That is something that my company does and sells for a fraction of the cost of turnkey solutions, which I think are often turkey solutions. So you have to work with your faculty to give them good materials and good tools and good support so they know how to manage the transition.
Mhm. Yeah, and Brenda, our advocate, our champion, we know that students come to you when their letter grade is not reflective of the work that they're doing in class. And so then they come to you. First of all, what's the difference in their grades? And are you doing anything systematically different than they're experiencing in their classrooms?
I would say that when they come to me, they obviously have a problem, right? So they're not performing in class the way that the system thinks they should be, and or the system is not grading them the way that they should be acknowledged. So the first thing that I do is not only a written assessment to see where they are, And this is not a formal assessment, and I guarantee that, I guarantee the student, and we do it together. And I guarantee to the student that the assessment is not a formal assessment. Nobody's going to see it other than the student and myself. And then I also take into account the student's culture, which I'm sure all of you do that. Um, the student or the client, because again, they're all ages, their hobbies, their likes, their dislikes, where they want to go in life. But that's not a big question because that usually freaks the younger ones out, right? But I try to address all of those issues because it's a big deal when it comes down to how I'm going to approach, for example, how I'm going to teach them Spanish. Why are they not enjoying Spanish? And I adore it, right? So if I adore it, that doesn't mean they're going to adore it. So I need to make it fun for them. So I throw in games and I throw in 2-minute or 3-minute videos because we know their attention span's not very long, and sometimes those videos are only 30 seconds. But sometimes that's all they need, a little break. Because after about 15 minutes of me lecturing or us doing a worksheet together, we both need a break. And so any sort of activity, even if it's something we consider elementary, a board game for goodness sakes, let's just throw up the whiteboard and draw some sort of game really quick. They really like that. And it doesn't really matter what age they are. Flashcards, we remember flashcards. These are all in our wheelhouse. They're all in our toolbox. We just need to use them. And one thing that I noticed with Spanish, we can pull in all subject matters, okay? Because vocabulary is vocabulary, and there's a theme to every chapter. And so, no, you can't escape math by learning Spanish. In fact, you're going to have to relearn English to learn Spanish, or for that matter, any foreign language. And this is where my strong suit comes in because English was my major. And so I get fulfillment there too because I don't like to just teach straight English. Just throw a little spin on it and make it a little bit foreign. So just make it fun. I'm in a group of teachers, and one of them said, I can't get them to do anything. And these people are paying this woman to tutor them. And I'm thinking, you're the professional here. Why can't you get them to do anything? And so she laid out to me what she was doing. And I'm like, you need to quit being the boss. Stop telling them what to do. Have fun with them. Be their friend. Mentor them. Get off your high horse because frankly, it's making your butt look big. And so she related to that, okay?
Well, I want to thank you, by the way. That's fun, a colorful image. It's not hard to unimagine that. Uh, I want to transition to our disruptor, and we're going to talk about testing for a second. And if you give me a second to set this up, when for years and years and years, I would put the midterm exam and the final exam in the packet and let it be a take home instead of taking 3 hours of class time it's a waste of the time that I have to make a difference. I'm not entertaining them. I'm not engaging them. I'm not finding out about them. I'm not making fun of myself to disarm that. You guys understand? They're sitting there sweating bullets. Moreover, they haven't read any of the chapters anyway leading up to the exam. So then they want to like call their friends like, hey, do you need to study? I need to study. Let's go to like Denny's, someplace that's open 24 hours. We'll pull the all-nighter and study. And they don't study. They get jacked up on caffeine. They make the mistake and have the Grand Slam breakfast at 4 a.m. And now they walk into class at 8 a.m. and there's the professor. And by the way, these students like, hey, give me the exam right away. Give me the exam right away because I don't want to forget any of the 3 sentences that I read. And every second that goes by, they're hallucinating, they're sleep deprived, they're jittery from the coffee, their stomach is in knots from the Grand Slam breakfast. And in that environment, not just the boss and the high horse, but worse, in my opinion, the professor's like trying to catch them cheating. So you get the A version and you get the B version and you get this. How many of you have ever seen that where there's an A, a B, and a C, different versions? So basically the instructors are treating the students like cheaters, right? And they say, don't start now, don't start until everybody has their exam, right? And then the students are waiting like, please let me start, I'm gonna forget something. And right? And they haven't learned anything. And of course, even if they got it all right, and I asked them the same question 6 hours later, they wouldn't be able to, right? And then they pass out all the exams and they say, all right, you may begin. And then
I'd be the one cheating, actually.
I don't know.
I'm like looking to the
And
side.
they pace back and forth. And now, if you're the best student, you're well rested, you had a good breakfast, you've been studying all along, following up, you got the flashcards, everything. Now you're taking the exam and you don't want to look up just to stretch because you don't want the professor to see you looking up because you don't want the professor to see that you're looking up to see if the professor's not looking so you can cheat. What are we doing? So, Vanessa, how often around testing do you see a child shut down completely? And then how do you handle it?
So again, when we talk about kids like neurodiverse or testing is very difficult, can be very difficult for a lot of kids. And also, if you hand them a piece of paper and how many kids like rip it up, I'm not going to do it. Or I don't know, my kids like, well, we don't have anyone throwing computers right now at this moment. It doesn't mean it's not going to happen. But again, it comes down to the relationship with the child. So when you have kids coming in and you don't know what their prior experiences have been, so then how do you meet the child where they are? So that is where you have to build that relationship. And if they're not ready for the test, they're not ready for the test yet. And I might just say, okay, let me know when you're ready to take it. It could be, again, we come down to choices. But when there is a shutdown and a child is completely, it's giving them that time, giving them that space. But what we call the rewind is like, okay, we're going to do this again. I'm going to present it again. And I'm going to show you how we're going to do it. And I'm going to give you the language that you're going to tell me that I'm not ready for this. I think we spend a lot of times telling children, no, that's not what we're doing versus teaching the right language that you want. Is this making sense? Oh, yeah. Okay. Thank you. I got a thumbs up. So I think spending time teaching that okay, instead of, the physical piece or going under a desk or running out of a room, and right before you see that's where the 3 R's come in, it's like we see the redo. That's when you're like, oh, what do I want to see differently from that child? We're going to do the rewind. I'm going to give you the language. I'm not going to say, can you say this? No, because I think to me that's like, the kid, if they would have known what to say, they would have said it, right? So instead, they're showing you their behaviors. And behaviors to me are not bad. It's just showing how they are feeling at that moment. So then how do we give the language? When we give the language in those situations, then we can work with the child on them understanding what's coming up for them instead of the physical piece of, whether they're hitting, any kids hit? You guys, everyone here has been hit, correct? Yeah, see? Instead of like being hit.
I think this panel is hard hitting.
Yeah. Instead of someone being hit or, the paper or you're being yelled at, I'm just going to say, let's rewind them. We can, I'm not ready for it now. Okay. That's it. And I'm going to walk away and then we're going to go back and then I'm going to prompt him and said, when I hand this to you, you're going to give me the language. I'm not ready for it now. Or this is really hard for me. Again, when you have kids coming up as they're getting older, you don't know what skills they missed because they had a behavior in a classroom or they shut down. And if you don't know what skills and we just keep going and going and going, we are creating more problems for the child with anxiety, them feeling stupid, them feeling very insecure about themselves and who they are. So what are they going to do? It's easier to have a behavior in a classroom or to act out to do something versus saying, I need help and I don't know what to do right now. And so they keep going and then you keep going to the principal's office and the same thing keeps happening over and over again. So that's how whenever there is a behavior. So at my school, so by the way, I'm like a no paperwork school. Like I'm really big on that. I know people are like, oh, how do you do that? I'm like,
Can
well,
I go to your school?
yeah, no, I'm like,
Do you have any open seats?
yeah, no, please. I'm like, if I spend time doing paperwork all the time, then I'm not doing what I need to do. I want to be with the kids. And that to me is really important. The other thing at my school is what happens that day stays on that day. So if there's a massive behavior over, I don't know what, I'm not reporting it to the parents because what's going to happen? The child's going to go home. The parent's going to sit there and say, well, did you do this to Johnny? Blah, 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 blah. To me, whatever happened at school is already repaired. It's done. You move on. And that's where I see a difference with the kids that they're not coming back into school thinking about what did they just do next, right? So that is one of the things that is super important for me on the social emotional learning.
Yeah, I just have, we're going to wrap it up now. I've got one more question for the pioneer, Dr. Matthew. Tell me more real quick about Good Work and Good Citizen, like go deeper on not just what it is, but of course how it is innovating the system, the change.
Yeah, right on. And the dilemma here, there's some sort of standardization. Many of us are school directors or run. Part of it is we want some sort of standardization, even with college admissions. And many of you here, we've been having this conversation already. So that's one side. The other side of I've been a pioneer so far outside this box. Please help me, bring me back. But there are so many solutions that we had 30 years ago that sometimes I don't understand why we get caught in these issues. So when we bring it back, I'm going to repeat what I've heard some of you already say. So these notions, good work beyond grades. What does that mean to do good work that's excellent, ethical, contribute something? What's usually, and same thing, good citizenship, even beyond that. We have an impoverished sense of this. We're not very good citizens, any of us, because we're not really talking about it. So, what do we really need here? Mentorship comes in. Mentorship becomes key. We're kind of lazy educated. Thank you for all teaching. I mean, we're doing wonderful roles, but it all falls on the teacher. No, we need coaches, mentors. Many of you learning specialists. Many of us hold those kind of roles. But to repeat back what I heard, but I got so many spotlights on it, I can't see you. But from 2 presentations ago, he said we need mentors that talk us off the edge and tell us when we're wrong. So start thinking of that, and as we start building these things up, the other thing I'll say again, we've heard again and again, purpose. What's missing so often when it's just a grade? I'm not totally opposed to taking a test or getting a grade, but what happens again and again and again when that's all we do, we totally lose track of, did you make your money back? You spent 3 hours at the baseball stadium with a full tray full of hot dogs. Bottom line, there as a businessman and good work, did you make it back? The other part that I'm really pushing here is how did you contribute? And that leads to this mentorship. We need everybody starting at an early age to have multiple mentors. And if you just want to look for a number, we should all have one mentor for every age of life we've been on this planet. Now, if that sounds a challenge, I'm going to put one more. You should all, many of you in the room older than me, we should actually have a mentee for every year of our life.
Yeah, fantastic. Big round of applause for our panelists. Thank you, thank you. Oh, do you have a question right here? A question? Do we have time for that? A question from the audience? All right, well, see us during happy hour. Let me say this, and the last word that I have on the panel, not to repeat what so many of you have said, but to add a new word to what we're really all saying. I think it was Dr. M. Scott Peck in his book, The Road Less Traveled, who said that love is the willingness to be vulnerable so that either we or our beloved may grow. And that is one thing that we all share here at the Education 2.0 conference, is that we are all in some way, shape, or form embracing headfirst into vulnerability for our beloved students. So thank you very much for the honor of hosting this panel. Thank you.
Thank you, Jeff.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you so much to our panelists and our moderator. It's discussions like these that truly push the envelope, making us rethink and reimagine the possibilities. And speaking of reimagining, let's gear up for something that's going to take that concept to the next level. Ever heard of the mantra, learn, unlearn, relearn? Well, if you thought that was just another catchy phrase, think again. Our next panel on the topic, learn, unlearn, and relearn, from knowledge to adaptability, is all about unpacking the real essence of this mantra in the context of staying agile and adaptable to an ever-changing world. Let's dissect this topic together by welcoming to the stage our moderator, Nibiyu Timatuas, founder and CEO of Rehoboth, and this panelist. She'll correct there. Thank you.
Hi guys. Okay, this is loud. How are you guys doing? That's it? Come on. I need more. How are you guys doing? There we go. So, yeah. So, um, I was talking to my mom yesterday, and I'm like, Mom, like I'm kind of like, you know, scared for this. And then she told me why, like you did this like like a multiple time before. And then I told her, I'm like, yeah, but we are Canadians, right? So then I told her, Canadians are nice. So I don't know how Americans are gonna react. So hopefully we get nice thing. But so this is my favorite part that my mom always says, sometimes you have to like stop showing off. And then I told her one day maybe when I'm 20, and I am very, very close to being 20, so pray for me. But I come from Canada. I am the founder of three different things. First is mentorship program for youth male, because as we all know that man's mental health is very neglected issue, right? And then two is community cares, which we help a lot of youth through care packages, right? And then third is Rehoboth, which is to spread kindness through clothing brand. So every work that I do is to spread, um, you know, kindness, love, giving back. As I always say, there is a power in kindness. Can I get a like amen for that? No, that's it. Yeah, but I don't want to go on and on. So here we have five amazing people. So I will let them, start. So
Hello, all. Thank you for staying at this late hour, and I'm sure we'll try to keep it very energetic and entertaining. I'm Bhanu Vishwanatha from Bay Area. I teach information security, project management, and I also work as a senior product manager. Along with me, Sal.
Hi, I'm Sal Stowe. And I use she, her pronouns. I am a PYP music teacher. For those of you that don't know what that means, it means a primary years program in the International Baccalaureate. I teach at Meridian World School over in Texas, just in Round Rock. And I look to do all sorts with my students. And I came obviously not originally from Texas, I'm sure you can tell. But when people ask me where am I from, I say Houston, because that's where I first lived when I moved out to the States from the United Kingdom. And I moved from the biggest county, Yorkshire, to the biggest state, mainland state, Texas. And I've been here since 2011.
Yeah. Hello, everyone, and thank you for being here. Just like Blenny said, this late hour. My name is Sheridan Opala. I am the founder of Sharesome Group, and in Sharesome we have many companies under us. But one of the things we like to do is the consulting sector, which specifically helps a lot of people, immigrants, to transition into tech roles and specific areas just to help them um, have better opportunities, job opportunities when they come into a new country. So hopefully I have some things to share with you tonight. Thank you.
Hello, I'm Bob Safran. I'm living in Phoenix, Arizona, and I have the distinct honor of being the oldest one on the panel. And with me being the oldest one, there's some other good news. I have the most educational experience. I have more than 50 years in education. I started out as a public school teacher. I was a college textbook editor. And then I decided it was time to be an entrepreneur. And in 1982, I rented 4 classrooms or 4 office rooms, actually on the second floor, and I started a career school. 35 years later, I had over 250 students at each school, and I had a couple unique things about my schools. Okay, we were accredited 2-year for-profit schools, and I did from day one. I come to school for 30 days. If you're not completely satisfied, you get 100% refund. Never lost a student. And compared to the community colleges, which if you Google community college United States graduate about 15% of their students after 3 years in a 2-year program. I was graduating 90% of my students and placing my students in jobs. Well, while doing that, because of my textbook experience, I'm always concerned about grammar and proper writing. I developed an online English grammar program. It started from a paper and pencil unit to CD, and then it went to Silverlight plugin, and now it's HTML. My program is called EGUM, which stands for English Grammar Usage Mechanics Program. And in 35 to 40 hours, I guarantee a student can become totally proficient in understanding grammar and writing proper English.
I think I need that program. Hi everyone, my name is Luca. Last name is Ceccarelli. I'm with AIsynergy.net, and we're dancing at the intersection between AI, education, and resilience, where we basically go into schools and teach AI not only literacy but leadership, which is one of the more important aspects of what we're doing. I'm probably the newest comer to education here because I come from coaching, I come from filmmaking, and I come from a background of management consulting. And so I'm piloting a new program, working with students, and just in at the deep end. So honored to be here.
Thank you so much. So I want to start very uh, general first. So what does this topic to learn, unlearn, and then adapt mean to you personally? Work experience. Just what does this topic mean to you?
Learn, unlearn, and relearn. If we can practice that as a parent, as a teacher, and as a student, you will be much better off. Because what we learned as a student around 50 years ago, if I teach the same thing to my kids, it's not going to fly. The way they learn has changed. So we have to unlearn first to teach our kids. Then, as a teacher, when I go into the classroom and start teaching the way I was taught, there is a reaction. As some of the previous speakers have said, they are focused only on the grades, not the learning. But your job as a teacher is to make sure that the students are learning or the learner is learning. So you need to first start the unlearning and relearning with you to be a better teacher. In work experience, I have to go through a couple of times to really unlearn the way I was doing the job to be better at doing the same job or a similar job. Same thing when I started teaching, I have to really adapt to the changing needs of what the students are expecting from you to be a better learners.
For me, it's the bread and butter of my job. As an educator, it is my role to constantly learn, unlearn, to relearn so that I can be the best person in my classroom to facilitate the learning of my educators. And I have spent countless hours looking at the knowledge that I have, that I've learned, and the fundamental basics of my subject, music, and how do I keep that current and relevant. And to do that, I have to unlearn what I first learned to do as a teacher way back and think about how to engage my students now so that they stay with the fact that music is an important piece of our lives. It's something that we all carry. Whatever way we engage with music, it is an important part. And so if I'm not making it relevant to my students, I'm failing in my job as an educator. And so I have to constantly look at what is relevant. How do I teach that? I have to learn what I've learned before about how I teach my subject and keep on looking for innovative new ways to be able to relearn to teach my subject. And so that is what I've spent my last, 20 years doing. If I look back at when I started my career, how I was teaching and how I teach now, it's night and day, even to pre-pandemic. Even 2 years ago, what I was teaching is different to what I teach now. And so it's a lifelong process of constantly learning, unlearning, relearning, so that I can remain relevant in my classroom and engaging with my students.
That was beautiful, Sally. For me, I would say in the my context for learn, unlearn, and relearn really sits with a need, a gap that I saw I've had the opportunity as a professional, an immigrant first, then a professional, to see the importance of giving people the opportunity to do what they know best and guiding them how to do it. And the reason I say this is because when I first got into the country that I now call home as a citizen, um, I had to first learn their ways. Then I had to unlearn what I already knew. And then I had to relearn how to become the best at what I do. And I have the opportunity every single day to meet with people by result of what I do, consulting and mentorship. When I meet with immigrants who just come into a country, and most of them, it's surprising that most of them back home are professionals. But when they come into a country, many of them are confused. Many of them do not know how to um, you know, make their way into that industry where they're coming from. I have the opportunity to teach them and to tell them these three processes. First of all, with all the skills they've gathered, they've learned something, but now many times for their for the sake of their career adaptability, they have to unlearn some old things, some absolute knowledge that they've had in the past, and also relearn, get new skills, and become better positioned in the job opportunities that they want.
Anybody in here ever hear the name Bert Lance? No, neither did I. I Googled this morning and I found out who Bert Lance was. What I was thinking about was if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Right? And then I said to myself, where did that statement come from? So I Googled and it was Bert Lance. Bert Lance was an American businessman back in the 70s. He worked for the Jimmy Carter administration. So now everybody in this room knows Bert Lance. Now, I wish Bert Lance would have made this statement back in the 50s. You know, learn the 3 R's: reading, writing, and arithmetic. Foundations of education. If you can't read, what can you do? Can you imagine driving and not be able to read the signs or trying to look at labels or something? So that was number one, crucial. Number two, when you talk about math, basic arithmetic. When people can't, I go into a store and today so many young people use something costs $1.79 and they need a calculator if you give them $2. All right, that's a shame. And 3, grammar. When I went to school, elementary schools were called grammar schools. People learned how to diagram a sentence. Back in the 60s, the United States, I remember the United States went from like number 1 in education to number 2 or 3, and there was an uproar. Today, when you Google, we are finding that our schools are 35th in math, 60% of the students can't read or are deficient in their reading skills. And what's happening is it's getting worse. So what I learned was not taught today. Now let's take the 3 R's. When we talk about reading, most people learn phonetically. They learned how to read through phonics. They were able to learn spelling and everything. And there was the great movement to go to a whole language approach. And what happened is we went from phonics, we went to memorizing words. There's a great book that was written in about 1986 or something, Why Johnny Can't Read. And it talks specifically about how bad it was that students weren't learning phonics. Then when in my schools, I had a Persian, a man from Iran, who could speak 5 languages, graduated with like an A+ average in college, and he can't teach his children modern math. I use the expression, if a chicken and a half laid an egg and a half in a day and a half, how long would it take a frog with a wooden leg to puncture a hole in a pickle? Grammar. If you go to the National Council of Teachers of English, largest teacher organization, and if you look at their 1984 resolution, which is still on their website, it says stop teaching grammar. It says grammar is detrimental to creative writing. Now, what's more important, creative writing or writing sentences correctly? Okay, so I'm angry. And all I'm going to say right now is we have to unlearn how they're teaching reading, writing, and arithmetic, and we have to go back to teaching phonics, teaching grammar, and teaching basic arithmetic.
I feel like everything's pretty much upside down for these kids right now. The landscape that they're navigating is one of political, corporate, environmental upheaval, turmoil. And what I'm seeing in my classroom is immense apathy, and I can't blame them. If I feel like I need to be apathetic, I can't imagine the world that we're sending them off into. You know, it was Einstein gets quoted so much, but one of my favorite quotes from him is the distinction between past, present, and future is a stubbornly persistent illusion. And and what we see right now is that there is no past that relates to this present or the future that we're sending these kids into. Um, it, Whenever we talk about the learning, the idea of a knowledge, it's a snapshot. It's a moment in time that we're taking a picture of, and that time just changed, and it changed again, and it changed again. So the unlearning and the relearning is intrinsic to knowledge. But adaptability is probably the key here, because if we are not being adaptable to our students and their needs, we're missing the mark. Quite frankly, Grammarly is what saved me in my grammar. These kids, they're AI supported natives. This is a generation that doesn't know a world in education without some kind of support or intervention. So on the one hand, it might be crippling. On the other hand, it might be very freeing to really free up their creativity, which is why what I keep coming back to is looking for this synergistic dynamic that exists with the technology and the tools that the kids have available to them today.
So I liked how you touched up on technology and things like that. So my like follow-up question is like, how can we leverage that to learn, unlearn, and adapt to this fast changing world? I think you can start from that.
By getting out of the way, they know what they're doing. We're the ones that are struggling. What happened? What was the moment where we became that person that said, "Well, when I was your age, the way we used to do this." When did I become that person? And realizing they're fine. They are natives in this landscape. We're the ones that are grappling in the dark. So let's get out of the way. One of the classes that I teach is that I'm running right now, programs that I'm running, is called philanthropic AI. So we're teaching literacy, we're teaching leadership. It has nothing to do with the tools. It has nothing to do with the technology. It has to do with engaging and reaching out to your local community and bringing some good into the world. It's about exploring your own creativity. That has nothing to do with the tools. The tools are here to benefit us. There's always going to be those kids that are wise. There's always going to be those adults that are use things for ulterior motives. And you know, when we keep presuming the worst out of our students, that they're cheating, that they're trying to cut corners, that they're trying to get around, I just have to go back to that apathy place. Like, what would I be doing in this world? It's shocking out there what they're navigating. So let's embrace the technology and let's help them use it and become literate and unleash them.
Mm. Thank you. I think you can continue.
Technology is fabulous. Artificial intelligence is fabulous. Or I wouldn't be here talking to you about my software program. Okay? Yes, diagramming sentences had its pluses and minuses. But now, by taking that same learning that we need, You have to learn what a sentence is to be able to write a good sentence. And the only way you're going to learn what a good sentence is by learning the parts of speech. Now, it's not difficult for anybody in here if I said to you, how much is 2 plus 2? Or if I said to you, how much is 5 times 5? And you learned all that through the multiplication tables. You learned that through rote memory. Now, how many people in this room, and I'm giving you a prize if you can do this, give me a complex sentence with an adverb clause, a prepositional phrase, and an infinitive phrase functioning as a direct object. Now, of course, now the bottom line is this. The bottom line is, no, you don't remember all that, but if you had learned sentence structure, you don't have to. If you had learned reading, you don't remember how you learned phonics, but it's not important. With grammar, it is very important right now for these students because that's critical thinking. That's problem solving. And the bottom line is, I can talk to you later, but I have one 8.5 11 sheet of paper, two-sided, and one side is called the word, and the other side is called the group of words. And it's everything you ever need to know in grammar. And that's what we have to get back to. We have to relearn. But we need, and I see, for me, I'm going to start using artificial intelligence because as I put sentences in my program, now they'll be more meaningful. I can say that I need 50 sentences, sports trivia, historical facts, Texas facts, whatever it might be. So now the student would not only be learning their grammar, learning sentence structure, but they're also learning something important. If it was in the medical field, it could be sentences with medical terminology. And they can push a button and they can see, they'll learn the terminology while they're learning grammar. So yes, we need both. We need technology, but we also need to go back to the basics, reading, writing, and arithmetic.
Yeah.
Thanks, Rob. Personally, I speak to the fact that AI is not in itself detrimental, but and technology in itself is not detrimental. It's just the intention behind the use of that technology or AI. My students are mostly adults, and I find that technology, AI in this aspect, has been very helpful in helping many of them upskill as well as not feel dumb regarding an area of learning. So I personally encourage most of them to go back to learn or use the training programs. Most of my training programs have incorporated AI in it. There's still more that can be done. But however, in terms of relearning, AI can be a very helpful tool to help during the process of relearning some things because the processes have definitely changed. The world is changing, the trends are changing, the workplace, there's a lot to learn. And sometimes you can feel very overwhelmed by the fact that everybody expects you as an adult to know everything or do things right. And no one's really willing to give you that sense of that opportunity to make mistakes and correct your mistakes. Everyone seems to be judging adults. But with AI, the opportunity to relearn certain aspects of life that would help them in their careers has been made available. So then again, I would say it's not about the technology or AI, but it's the intention in using that technology.
For me, technology's become a huge part of music. And whilst I believe still that the traditions are an important aspect, if I was to only teach those traditions, I'd lose so many musicians because you don't have to be able to read music to be a musician. And the programs that are now available for anybody to use, and some of them are free, open that creative door that for some students is what gives them their purpose. And part of my role is being able to give the students the toolbox to be able to access and create the music. I use a quote that a children's author wrote many, many years ago. Where words fail, music speaks. And Hans Christian Andersen was the person that said that. And it's very true. And I talk with my students frequently about the language of music. What does that share with us? How does that phrase actually play out to us in the world? And if I can give them the means to be able to express themselves through music in whichever way that is, whether it's writing their own song, creating the beats that express how they feel, if technology is what helps them do that, to be their best self, to be a creator, it unlocks a door, it gives them purpose. And so, whilst I was resistant of the technology, I now embrace it because it's the way forward. It gives them a chance to do something that otherwise they might not be able to do musically because they can't read music. Yes, it's a language, but it's something you have to work hard at to be able to read the music notes on the stave. And as somebody who is neurodivergent, who went through entire school not knowing the problems and the reasons behind my challenges, I now use that in my classroom as I role model. I tell my students, I'm dyslexic. These are my problems. I own when I make a mistake. They'll tell me, they'll, highlight it to me. But when I share with them, I'm dyslexic, they'll ask the questions and it gets them to inquire. But it also gives the students in my classroom the knowledge to embrace themselves. And I talk about it as being a superpower. I'm like, well, what do you mean by that? Because they see it as a roadblock, whether it's their ADHD or whatever else. But I use tools to help those students have a level playing field so that they don't feel that they are inadequate. I want them to be empowered to be able to use music in whatever way speaks to them, whether that's how they listen to music, whether they're creating it, playing it, or whatever other ways. And so technology is a huge part in that puzzle, and being able to give them the toolbox and knowing the different platforms that they can use to be creative can help them in all aspects of their life.
To summarize, each one of them has said technology is here to stay. Adapt to that. As a teacher, imagine when people start using, your students start using the technology and submit the assignments, which of course I tell my students, don't use the result that comes from your chat GPT or Gen AI tool as an output and submit it. Instead, take it as an input. Put your own brains, improve upon it, and submit the assignment. Look at the quality of the work that they are submitting. That is the power of technology. Adapt to that. Don't try to prevent the students from using the technology. You cannot do that. You cannot stop the use of technology in submitting the assignments or doing the coursework. Even when you are doing an unproctored exams, they can go on internet and search for the answers. So you can't prevent that. Instead, be creative, learn the technology, adopt the technology, challenge the students to use the technology in a better way so that they become better learners. That way, you are with them. Then you don't have to say that question of in my days. That question don't arise. So don't go there. Your days are gone. Adapt to that. Adapt to the technology. Adapt to the new ways of learning to become a better teacher, better tutor, better parent to your kids, to your students.
So I know that you just said that your days are gone, but I want to bring you back to your days, and to ask you a question to if like you can share like a personal story where you had to learn, unlearn, and then adapt. We can start from you, and then we can just go down.
I'll club this with a piece of advice also
Hmm.
because we are running short of time.
Yeah.
When my daughter came to me around 17 years ago with a math problem, I have a double math major in major. Boom, boom, boom. I did it in 2 minutes. She has no clue. What did I do? How did I arrive at the answer? She said, Daddy, this is not how we learn at school. There is supposed to be 10, 15 steps. Instead, you have done it in 2 steps. Then I thought, okay, where did I go wrong? That's what taught me that I need to first unlearn the way I learned. I sat with my daughter on that day, went step by step. How do you go from this step to the next step to the next step, next step? Then, to my surprise, I was able to write 20 steps, which never in my dream I would have imagined that I will put 20 steps to solve that problem. So that is what the experience taught me, is that I am in a different circle here, different country here. The teaching methods are different, so I need to change. As a piece of advice to all the parents and teachers in this room, please do not make learning as prescriptive. Identify the passion in the student, in the child, try to encourage them. That is where you become better teachers, you become better parents. Anything prescriptive, if the kid doesn't like it, they don't have passion for it, it will only go north. So you have to be there with them to understand what is their interest, what is their passion, and then see how you can help them. That way you become part of their success, not a roadblock to their dreams.
I think for me, the learn, unlearn, relearn comes down to my role as the teacher in the classroom. And we were always kind of taught that you're the person at the front of the room, you're in charge, you have to do this. And over time, I've learned that that's not actually the best way to teach, that you're not going to engage the students by doing that. It's about being a facilitator, providing, and it's working backwards. When I do my planning, I have to think about what is the end piece, what's the goal, where are we going, what is it that I want them to learn, and work backwards from that. And then I have to think, well, how do I deliver that in the classroom to be able to make it relevant to them? So I've had to unlearn how I learned to be a teacher to become the person that now provides the toolbox and the skills that they need to then explore and experiment, to engage them in the learning, to get the outcome. And I'm not prescribing saying these are the exact things you have to do, but here's what your end product needs to kind of be, but not a prescriptive product. So that I allow the students to share their best selves, their skills in the way that suits them. Because we're not all they're not all cookie cutters, right? Every child is different. And their means of expression, their means of being able to work is all different. Kinesthetic, audio, all of the different ones. And so I've had to learn all of those different things so that I can provide a space in my classroom where they can thrive and engage and be continuous learners. When they leave me in 5th grade, at the end of 5th grade, I want them to know how they can engage with music. And so it's been a very big process for me to do that, because everybody thinks, when they walk in the classroom, they should see the teacher doing. And I'm like, no, that's not what should be happening. Actually, it should be that you're seeing a hive of activity from the students. And that's a big shift in the mind, and it's much more, I think, now what people see as teaching and the way that teaching should be going. In terms of advice, I think don't put boundaries on the students in terms of what's the cap of their learning. I go back to the bumblebee. The bumblebee ergonomically shouldn't be able to fly, but nobody told it that it couldn't fly, so it flew. And so in my classroom, I don't have a limit to what my expectations is of what they can achieve. And if we can have that with our children and allow them to thrive and flourish in the best way that they can, if they're trying their best, they're achieving their best, and that should be good enough. Don't make them feel inferior because they're not getting that grade. I don't tell the kids what their grades are. because that's not the important piece. The process, the steps that they've gone through, the discovery, allow them to explore, experiment, discover, because you don't know what gifts they're going to give you from that. And the kids know best what they can achieve. It's what we do to extract that from them and give them that enthusiasm to want to soar to the stars.
I would say, for me, in this context, would be personal development. First, personal development from my side, and then my students, who I said again are adults. Um, in the context of learning, unlearning, and relearning, it was one thing. I came from a background where um, in school there was so much competition to be number one. We had intense competition to the point that it was very unhealthy. Everybody wanted to be number one. And I don't know how many of you know, but I think this is very similar to both Africa, Asia moms. You have to study. Like if your parent is African or Asian, at least most of my Asian friends tell me this, they would love you to study to the point where you have to just be number one. If you're number two, they'll ask, what happened? Don't you have the same head as the person that got first position? And sometimes you kind of feel like, but I really tried my best. But then it's like your best wasn't good enough if you were not number one. So coming from that, I understood that I had to let my students know that they were more than enough. If they ever had that kind of background, it was okay not to compete. I think in the process, many of them have come to realize that they needed to appreciate their starting point, whatever that was, and then we would work from there. And I've seen so much development in each and every one of them because the end goal was always met. There was not one process to meet the goal. Their creativity was encouraged because it wasn't just this was the only way to meet this particular goal. Many of them became creative and were all able to meet the set goal.
I'll go back to what I said before, and I'll say it in a different way. We need to go back to the future. All right? What we need to do is get back to the basics. If we had a foundation that was strong, that everybody can read, write, and do arithmetic, I guarantee you that more and more students would move up the ladder, especially in communications. The better your writing and speaking skills are, the higher up the economic ladder you will rise. But it's not fair to our students to not have the advantage that I had back in the 50s and 60s. And we were, there's nothing wrong with creativity. Don't get me wrong. There's a lot of good things, and there's a lot of new ways of approaching things. But without a foundation, if you can't do arithmetic, you're definitely not going to do algebra. If you don't know what a sentence is, you're barely going to be able to write more than what most people text now. And half the times they text, how are you? And they use the letter R or something. And right now, there are, if you just Google something like there was a report that came out a few years ago from companies, 50% of the companies said that college graduates are graduating without the necessary writing skills to do their job. Now, it shouldn't be a mystery. It's pretty simple. If they don't understand grammar, they're not going to improve their writing. If they don't understand basic math or if their reading skills are low, they're not moving anywhere in the world. So let's remember two things. Back to the future and grammar, don't leave school without it.
Following up on some previous points, this obsession with grades is truly toxic at this point. My 16-year-old from all of her friends It's your only pathway to success. It's the only way you're going to get to college. It's the only way we're going to be able to afford it. I have a 26-year-old who is equally obsessed. I have a 23-year-old who is equally obsessed, and it just the degree to which it interferes with their ability to enjoy the process of learning is what I find most startling in the system right now. Um, my story, I don't know how we're doing on time with the story, but all I can really say to that is I was thinking about the fact that I love to sail, and we have statistical information. The way weather reports work is we have statistical information that is gathered over decades. And I sent a picture. I'm on my boat. I sent a picture to my dad, and he's looking at the clouds behind me. I'm like, "Look, I'm sailing," and he's like, "You got a squall coming, a squall coming." And I said, "No, no, the weather's pointing this way and this way and all this other." And I realized, and after I went out of range, and the squall did come, and I was hit by a big storm. And I realized, of course, he was right, but I was so reliant on all my technology that I thought, I'm good. I got this. And I was going to prove it to him. And I was wrong, because when he went and learned to sail, you read the clouds, you read the skies, you see how high the clouds are, you know which way it's coming. You don't make a rookie mistake like that because you have 17 gadgets and devices on your phone, on your sailboat. I had fallen into a kind of a proving mindset, trying to show my dad how cool I was on my sailboat. And that's something I take into almost every class that I do is, are we using this technology to prove or to improve? And there's just this constant proving. And then it doesn't matter the technology. It can be any technology. With obviously, I'm entrenched in it because I deal with AI in education, and for me, that's become a critical separating, guiding principle. How many of you are using these tools to prove that you can do something you don't actually know how to do? And how many of you are using them to improve and make it better and go higher and further? So that's my advice: prove or improve.
Thank you so much. Thank you guys so much, and thank you all. And we'll be seeing how we can take this and apply it to our life. So thank you guys so much.
All right, thank you, panelists, so much for that panel. Now it's time to celebrate and commend our pioneers and outstanding figures who have genuinely transformed our field. Without any delay, please join me in welcoming our esteemed guest, Dr. Maureen J. Zanuck, the CEO and founder of Zanzi Health and Fitness, to the stage, who will help us present awards today. Please. She will be helping present our awards today. Thank you. All right, I would like to call our gold sponsor, Sean K. Shakrami, founder and CEO of Opelio, to the stage. We would like to present this certificate, and we extend our gratitude and appreciation for your significant part you played in making this event possible. Okay, our next award winner is Alex Rand for Education 2.0 Conference Visionaries Award. Welcome. Alex Rand is a lifetime educator who focuses on teaching his students the concepts and strategies necessary to excel in the present while preparing for the future. He is a writing professor at Mount St. Mary's University and a middle years program teacher at Gotham International School currently. Alex is focusing on a doctorate in transformational integral psychology while also teaching students at USC the Afro-Brazilian martial arts. Would you like to say anything, Alex? Yes.
I want to again dedicate this award to all of my students. Without them, I wouldn't be here. And every day I'm learning something new from them, so I always thank them. And also to my daughter, she's always my inspiration. So thank you, baby. And thank you, Education 2.0. Thank you, everybody.
Our next award winner is Alicia Pollard for Education 2.0 Conference Outstanding Leadership Award. Learning and leading as the president and co-founder of the educational nonprofit organization Warriors Helping Achieve Triumph, Inc., affectionately known as what? Alicia Pollard brings positivity and inquisitiveness to a grassroots developed organization established in 2012. Alicia Pollard enjoys creating, teaching, and leading new initiatives geared towards professional and personal development and cultivating environments of academic learning. Would you like to say a few words?
Good evening. I first like to give honor to God being here. I thank you all for still staying here to for me. I thank God for that. I have our board member here, Ms. Darlene, who traveled with me from New Jersey. As stated, I do have a grassroots grown organization with a focus on education, empowerment, and financial literacy. So I'm excited to be here to connect, to obtain resources, and help you remember that when the topic of education arises and you begin to think who, think what. Thank you.
Our next award is for Amber Carlson Hayes for Education 2.0 Conference Outstanding Leadership Award. Amber Carlson Hayes has designed learning solutions for organizations of all sizes and industries for over a decade. As the president and founder of Archway Learning Solutions, she specializes in leading teams to create learning strategies that align with business goals and support the transformation of learners through proven dynamic processes.
It's very exciting to be here with all of you to celebrate all of the different successes of the different people here that are winning awards. And I think we can all agree that leadership really is a journey, not a destination. But when we think about the journey, it's a journey of people. When we are leading people to push them to that next level, whether they are our children or the adults that we work with every day, leadership is really that journey of people. And I am very grateful for the people in my life that have led to winning this outstanding award. And I just wanted to say thank you to all of you.
Our next award is for Steve Simmons, Education 2.0 Conference Outstanding Leadership Award. Congratulations, Steve. Steve Simmons is a co-founder and chief operating officer at Nyland, a former 9/11 first responder and co-founder of Populate Wall Street. Steve has taken the same strong belief in redemption stones and leveling the playing field in the realm of college athletics and NIL, names, image, and likeness, with a goal of being a staunch advocate for college athletes.
Hey, thank y'all. I don't want to be the one to hold you up between being the last guy between cocktails, so I'll be super fast. I just want to say this is if any of you have ever been on a redemptive journey, little things like this go a long way to acknowledging and making you feel really good that you're doing the right thing. And for me, it's about proving myself to my son, and just trying to put a little bit good out there and balance karma a little bit. So thank y'all. I appreciate it. Thank you guys.
This next award is the Creativity Effect Award to be received by Andrew Tilstra for Education 2.0 Conference Outstanding Organization Award. Creativity Effect is a cutting edge consulting firm specializing in innovation and creative solutions for organizations across a broad spectrum of industries. Their expertise extends to education in innovative practices and creative thinking, where they infuse improvisation and liberating structures to enrich their work, ensuring originality in all of their offerings.
Thank you so much. My team, they're awesome. They're great. Everyone here is great. Thank you, Education 2.0. That's all there is to say. Thank you so much.
This next award is for Brandy Lynn Hazelnut for Education 2.0 Conference Outstanding Leadership Award. Brandy Lynn Hazelnut is the founder and director of Red Line Advocacy, a private program for students with disabilities. Brandy is a 10-year veteran teacher in Ohio and has specialized in working with students with high behavioral needs and students who need vocational training to prepare for adulthood. Our next award winner is Chance Ewing, Education 2.0 Conference Outstanding Leadership Award. Congratulations, Chance. Chance is the Assistant Director of Operations at University of Nevada, Las Vegas, and is a skilled higher education professional with an impressive 7 years of experience working collaboratively and effectively with academic administration, staff, and faculty. Throughout his career, Chance has consistently demonstrated his ability to ensure student success and exceed campus outcomes. Congratulations, Chase.
And that's why you don't use AI to type your bio, because it ends up a little long, right? We're talking about the pros and cons of it. But thank you, everyone. And I just want to thank all my mentors, all my family members, and my mom for helping me get here. Thank you.
Our next award winner is Dr. Dimple Patel for Education 2.0 Conference Outstanding Leadership Award. Dr. Dimple Patel is an esteemed educator with a doctorate in STEM education from Washington State University and is at the forefront of reshaping STEM education and community empowerment. With over 15 years of dedicated experience, she serves as the executive director of Wise Computing Academy of Parker and Cherry Creek and is the founder of KGS Foundation Service for All.
Wow, I think I forgot my words. um, Thank you, Education 2.0, for this honor. Thank you, Abhishek Somani, for helping me take WISE to a new height in just 1.5 years. Thank you to my children who inspires me to do great work. Thank you to the entire team of WISE who make great things happen at WISE. I was told that I have 2 minutes, maybe three, to promote my brand, my company. And I was thinking, you know what? Instead of promoting my company, my brand, I'm going to take this opportunity to thank my lighthouses, my mentors, because I feel that it is them who made me the person I am. You can't really see this picture. It's the printer didn't do justice. Some people are cut off. But this is Dr. Diane Gaines. She actually inspired me to climb the corporate ladder and get my doctorate. Without her, I wouldn't have even dreamed of going for that doctorate. Then I'd like to thank Loanne Ayers. It's this person right over here. I know you can't see it. I wish that the cameras were pointing in the big screen too. But Loanne Ayers actually inspired me to pursue my love in STEM education. I had no idea what STEM education was, but she gave me this research project and trusted in my abilities to come up with a nice STEM program for Washington State University, and that is how my love for STEM started. I'd like to thank Dr. Michelle Acker-Hosevar. She strongly advocated for my PhD application in a competitive PhD program. My mother-in-law, Rita Somani, she has been with me throughout my doctorate program, and she is the one who taught me how to lead employees with love and compassion. My mother and grandmother, they don't really have a formal education, but I feel that I have learned so much life wisdom from them, especially on being humble, being grounded. So although Wise has achieved a great heights, I feel that part of the reason I feel grounded and humble, and I know that I'll never let that success get to my head, is because of my mother and my grandmother. And last but not least, this is Sai Baba. He is actually one of the greatest saints of India. He lived in the 1900s. One of the very few saints of India who actually united different religions together. So I follow a lot of his teachings, not just in my personal life, but in my professional life as well. And it is because of him I feel that I lead my personal and professional life with love, compassion, and integrity. So I really want to dedicate this award to all my lighthouses because I feel it is these people in my life who really makes things happen for me. So thank you, my lighthouses, and I'm not going to ask you for money or donations for my NGO because I feel that I'm quite capable and capable to create a self-reliant NGO. However, if you do wish to give us anything, send your good energy for KGS Foundation as well as WISE, and yeah, just pray that we continue to do good work. Thank you.
Our next award is for Aaron Balk for Education 2.0 Conference Outstanding Leadership Award. Aaron Balk is the co-owner of Rooted Values Coaching, is an active agilist in all aspects of her life. In her 20-year plus career in technology, she has held a number of roles, including leadership and coaching roles, helping teams and organizations grow in their desired mindset and behaviors. She holds multiple certifications through IC Agile, including certified expert in agile coaching, agility in expertise, and coaching agile transitions. Congratulations, Erin.
I don't actually have anything prepared other than to say thank you. Just to those around me, my community. What I always like to say is my tribe is my vibe. And so it's all those around me that lift me up and keep me going forward. So thank you.
This next award is for Gary Fry for Education 2.0 Conference Outstanding Leadership Award. Gary Lee Fry holds 32 teaching and professional certifications from the states of Texas and Missouri. All required subjects pre-K through 12, SBE, ESL, psychology, 9 through 12 reading, mid-management counselor, special education and regular, educational diagnostics, and school psychologist. He is also a Columbia Public Schools District grant writer and executive director of Lano Escato Foundation.
I'll be quick. As we know, legislators, local, state, federal, always say children are our most important asset until it comes to funding anything for them. So I accidentally learned how to write grants to seek money. I've had multiple people ask me about this, so if you use the G for Gary, L for Lee, and Fry, and my voice is going out, at Gmail, I will send you a grant writing book that shows you how I've been able to raise $132 million. And if you really want to get in the weeds, I'll send you my dissertation that was on what factors you need in place to create my position. And anything I can do to help you with grants, not an issue.
This next award is for Greg Adden for Education 2.0 Conference Visionaries Award. Greg Adden is the owner, founder, executive coach, and certified leadership consultant at IntraWorks and Aiden Leadership. He elevates his clients to see creative solutions for self-awareness to focus on efficiencies and results. Throughout his career, he has learned the benefits of a serve first and lead second philosophy. Congratulations, Greg. Our next award is for Drew McClellan for Education 2.0 Conference Outstanding Leadership Award. As the chair of the Cinematic Arts Department at the esteemed Los Angeles County High School for the Arts, Drew McClain plays a pivotal role in shaping the education and development of emerging filmmakers, content creators, and industry professionals. Concurrently, Drew serves as an adjunct graduate professor at the University of Southern California School of Cinematic Arts, contributing to the institution's mission of nurturing talent and fostering excellence in the cinematic arts. Our next award is for Jeffrey Klubeck for Education 2.0 Conference Visionaries Award. At the intersection of academia and business, Professor Jeffrey Klubeck has applied his master's degree in communication to over 20 years of experience in organizational development and transformational business coaching. Jeffrey founded the Integrity Game in 2020 to offer keynotes, soft skills workshops, and trainings, executive and communication coaching to corporations and trade associations. Congratulations, Jeffrey.
Well, despite what you just heard, when people ask me what I do for a living, I always say that I wake up every day and I figure out or start trying to figure out how I'm going to deserve my wife and kids. And next thing I know, I'm out of bed helping people somehow, some way. I'm a soft skill guy. Soft skills make strong leaders, teams, and organizations. And sometimes it's lonely when you're so committed to helping people just to feel like you deserve your wife and kids. But here at Education 2.0, never lonely. Congrats to all of you. Thank you.
Our next award is for Dr. Joshua Bell for Education 2.0 Conference Outstanding Leadership Award. Dr. Joshua Bell's expertise spans various domains with a pronounced focus on project management, notably within technology, higher education, and manufacturing sectors. As an associate professor and project manager at Minnesota State University Moorhead, his proficiency extends to strategic planning and leadership development with a diverse background that encompasses nonprofit organizations, business, and entrepreneurship.
Thank you very much. Just want to thank my family. Any success that we all have, we didn't do it alone. It's always on the shoulders of other people. So I want to thank those people, my lighthouses, as somebody had said, and of course, my wife and kids. Thank you.
This next award is for Katrina Tarpey for Education 2.0 Conference Outstanding Leadership Award. As a teenager, Katrina and her family joined the Red Cross and relief efforts to help villages affected by natural disasters. During the pandemic, Katrina utilized her skills as a teacher and an administrator to support families awaiting a safe return to school. She founded Once Upon Adventures LLC for 21st century learners, where imagination meets education and learning is an adventure. All right, our next award is for Dr. Keisha King for Education 2.0 Conference Outstanding Leadership Award. Dr. Keisha King is a passionate advocate for digital innovation and equity in education and serves as T-Mobile's Senior National Education Administrator, leading a groundbreaking $10.7 billion program to bridge the digital divide and national education strategy for T-Mobile. With a 20-year career deeply rooted in serving and reshaping the educational landscape, Dr. King's impact is undeniable.
Heard, I got to do a lot of fun stuff in my career. I've been a teacher, a principal, executive director in a school district of 65,000 kids. And now I've had the opportunity to provide critical connectivity for over 6 million kids across the country.
This next award is for Professor Kim Pickett for Education 2.0 Conference Outstanding Leadership Award. Professor Kim Pickett is an environmental project manager, has approximately 20 years of experience in both the public and private sectors. She has been involved in and has managed a diverse array of environmental projects, including Phase 1 environmental site assessments, Phase 2 environmental site assessments, hydrological investigations, soil and groundwater remediation, designated substance surveys, and in addition, Kim is a part-time professor at Seneca College and Mohawk College in Ontario, Canada.
I'm going to be very, very brief, but I just wanted to say thank you to Education 2.0, and I've already learned so much on day one. Coming from Canada to a conference like this in a country that isn't your own is incredibly eye-opening, because it is incredible how many of you have already told me today that the issues that we have in our system in Ontario also exist in your system, which I didn't realize, and it's great to be here and to be able to learn how to come up with those solutions for everyone. Thank you.
This next award is for Laura Hart for Education 2.0 Conference Outstanding Leadership Award. Laura Hart has worked with teachers, students, and technology for over 40 years. For the past 25, she has run her company Vision Education and Media in New York City. Prior to founding Vision Education and Media, Laura directed the computer department at the Buckley School in Manhattan for 14 years and was the director of technology program at the Little Red Schoolhouse and the Elizabeth Irwin High School for 2 years.
I just briefly, I know we all are really dying to have something to eat and drink. I just want to say I was asked by the Museum of Math last Friday night to run an event. And this week seems to be a culmination of a 40-year career in the field. And they asked me, can you do something fun with kids and families? I was like, yeah, sure, I'd like to do that. I can bring about 25 robots, have maybe 40 people there. And they called me and said, we had to stop accepting people. I said, okay, well, how many did you accept? They said 200. I was like, oh. Anyway, there were 80 families who played with robots and had a fabulous time. And I'm mentioning this because my specialty is creative curriculum development and event development. And you can do this on a dime. If that's of interest to you, come see me. Thank you.
Our next award winner is Latanya Moore for Education 2.0 Conference Outstanding Leadership Award. As the CEO of Legal Proof Your Business, an international legal consulting company, Latanya F. Moore is not only a visionary legal strategist, but also a trailblazer in the realm of educational law advocacy. leading initiatives as Legal Proof Your Business. She advises clients who timelessly advocate for K through 12 education, specifically focusing on minimizing societal isolation for children with moderate impairments and reforming disciplinary measures for those with intellectual and neurodiverse challenges.
I definitely want to say thank you to Education 2.0. As most lawyers, we love to hear ourselves talk, but what I will say is something very brief. Our mission is really about really being true to inclusion versus assimilation. And I love the fact that the panelists talked a lot about making sure that we are meeting children at their point of need so that they can have access to equal educational opportunities. Thank you so much.
Our next award is for Lisa Polk for Education 2.0 Conference Outstanding Leadership Award. Lisa Polk has over 20 years of experience as a birth to 5 teacher, director, regional director, child care program owner, and accreditation facilitation project leader, and director of the Georgia Alliance for Quality Child Care. Currently, Lisa spends her time on her nonprofit, Pollyanna's Place, Inc., supporting children and families experiencing trauma and serving as regional director for Leapfrog Academies.
I would like to take this opportunity to thank Education 2.0, and I stand on the shoulders of so many people to be here. And this award is dedicated to Pollyanna. She is the inspiration for the work that I do. Thank you.
This next award is for Luca Ceccarelli for Education 2.0 Conference Outstanding Leadership Award. Luca Ceccarelli founded AI Synergy Leadership in 2023 to help students, educators, and guardians navigate the crossroads of education, AI, and resilience. In his recent work, Flip the Pipe, an immodest proposal to save planet Earth and its inhabitants, Luca explores the possibilities of using AI and outside-the-box approach of tackling climate change.
Thank you very much to the 2.0 conferences and education. I'm honored to receive this award on behalf of the team of the work that we're doing at aisynergy.net, navigating this treacherous, slippery slope of the intersection of education and AI and resilience, all for the betterment of humanity and the planet. Thank you all.
This next award is for Luciana Madsen for Education 2.0 Conference Outstanding Leadership Award. Luciana Madsen, Head of Education and Innovation at TCF Schools Management, LLC, has been actively involved in shaping, fueling, and nurturing children's natural curiosity for over 40 years, since the inception of their first academy. Driven by a profound passion for her early childhood education and a commitment to the community, Luciana embraces the Life Essentials philosophy.
Thank you for this opportunity. Have a great night. Thank you.
The next award winner is Tis Mode Isma Aswali Hanama for Education 2.0 Conference Outstanding Leadership Award. He is an educator and trust account coordinator at KKCP of DPCCE at the Ministry of Higher Education in Malaysia. For the past 10 years, he was a coordinator and lecturer for embedded system applications and fundamentals of renewable energy courses at Politnik Premier Yunka Omar in Perak and Politnik Kota Kintaba in Sabah. He has a profound interest in research on the Internet of Things, AI driven predictive machine learning, renewable energy, clean technology, and intellectual property.
Hi everyone. I flew all the way from the Southeast Asia region to represent the government of Malaysia through the Ministry of Higher Education. Alhamdulillah, as a senior lecturer at the Department of Polytechnic and Community College Education, receiving this award is such a great honor, not only for me, but also to all the people at the polytechnics and community colleges in Malaysia. Yeah, thank you to the organizer for this incredible opportunity. I do learn a lot from other awardees as well. Yeah, once again, thanks.
Our next award is for Sean Karami for Education 2.0 Conference Outstanding Leadership Award. Sean K. Karami, founder and CEO of Apelio, began his path to find purpose and peak performance 10 years ago after a traumatic car accident that almost took his life. He zigzagged his way between breakthroughs, trials, and triumphs to become one of the youngest directors in a global accounting and consulting firm, leading cross-board and cross-functional teams and selling nearly $2 million in originated revenue. Our next award winner is for Shelton J. Fine for Education 2.0 Conference Outstanding Leadership Award. Congratulations, Sheldon. Sheldon Fine, educational consultant at Fine Pathways to Learning, is a pioneering figure in public education, focusing primarily on the impoverished congregational district in the South Bronx. With roles ranging from teacher to assistant superintendent, his district-wide specialized high school initiative notably increased yearly admissions from single digits to over 50. He has helped over 60% of students exit special education and is the first online educational developer for PBS.
I'd like to thank Education 2.0 for a wonderful opportunity and for the honor. And to all of you and those who I've met who are really inspiring in different ways, helping our children and making a difference either for our children or for the field. Both are important. Sage said, I learned much from my teachers, much from my teachers, even more from my colleagues, and most from my students. And that's the story of my education, 54 years in education. I started out in a program which didn't exist except in one place in the country. It was for severely and profoundly retarded students who were multiply handicapped, and those who kept their parents who kept their children at home when 95 to 100, maybe 99% were in institutions. I worked in the program and I learned that all children can progress and all children were very human. I was told they didn't have human feelings. That's how bad things were in those days. I went into special education and I recommend that every teacher have special education background because when I progressed over time, I knew that I had to, as a teacher and as a professional developer and as an administrator, I had to find the way that each child learned, okay? That it wasn't my teaching, it was how they learned and how they needed to be taught and worked with. My greatest success was that in the South Bronx, which was the poorest congressional district in the country, we managed to, in 5 years, have the greatest gains in New York State in mathematics using National Science Foundation programs. The chancellor told me that it's not for those children. And I left the system and went off on my own doing consulting because it did work for 5 years with our kids. Everything has the potential of working with all children. So my career basically has been in special education and with the children in the poorest communities, and had success and see they can do it. So there's hope for the future. Some people say we have to go back to the future or back to the past. There are many ways to get to where we need to. It depends on the child, and if we can reach them, then we can teach them. Thank you.
Our next award winner is Susri Honorata Mazmandor for Education 2.0 Conference Outstanding Leadership Award. Her academic journey has endowed her with a robust foundation in both technical and management aspects. A decade ago, she founded NewsQuest Inc., driven by her passion for education and her aspiration to make a tangible impact on young learners. Her leadership skills and adeptness in navigating complex systems have been honed through various roles, ensuring seamless operations and effective educational delivery.
Well, this is heavy. So, first of all, thank you, Education 2.0, for this recognition. I'm honored and humbled. I'm going to share a little bit of my backstory with you guys. I know it's late, but just bear with me. So, my journey 25 years ago, I was a fresh engineering technology graduate, ready to fly off into the corporate world. And my father told me, why don't you finish your master's and join the education sector? I'm like, no, I have a great offer. I'm flying to Europe and then I'm flying to US. And off I was. And then I was here working in my corporate world, finishing my master's and everything. And then fast forward 15 years later, I had my kids who are ready to go to school. And I wanted to understand, what is the education system here? Because I'm from India, I have learned in a different way. And even though I've done my master's here, I don't know how the elementary or middle school or high school education works here. And that's what was my passion. I started volunteering in multiple things. And then, thanks to my husband who pushed me and said, all right, maybe you should join this. This is what you like. And then 10 years from now, then this is where I am. And I'm getting recognized for something which I was passionate about 10 years ago. As I tell my children, success is a journey. It's not a destination. And if you're really passionate about something, just follow. Follow it and the recognition will come. I would like to thank my husband who has pushed me, my parents who probably knew always that I'm going to get into education, and my children who bore with me when I was transitioning from a technology corporate person to a whole new world. And thank you, Education 2.0, for recognizing it.
Our next award is for Dr. Yuk Shan Mary Tu for Education 2.0 Conference Visionaries Award. She has almost 20 years of experience teaching students of all ages, including school principals and teachers. As the founder of Bunny Kids Learning, Dr. Mary Y.S., to the author of various copyrighted English learning curriculum, including phonics, writing, and worldwide exam training courses. She constantly assists different schools and education centers with their curriculum development.
Hello, everyone. So, thank you, Education 2.0. So, I'm glad to be in Vegas. And So as the role model of all my students, especially for those who are now surviving from the hectic learning environment in Asia, so I'm going to try my best to develop as many learning programs as I can to assist them to learn efficiently and most importantly, joyfully. Thank you very much.
Our next award is for Mark Pilowitz for Education 2.0 Conference Outstanding Leadership Award. Mark Pilowitz is the president and CEO of EdKey Inc. Sequoia School. He has roughly 30 years of educational leadership experience, helping navigate exceptional challenges. Mark cites EdKey's commitment to diversity in its student populations and academics as part of the brand's success.
So just real quick, I want to thank my wife and my daughter for being here. Can't do it without them for sure. And you know, the fact that they get to travel and come see all of you wonderful people. And for my daughter to hear this stuff as a 13-year-old, she's like, what are they talking about? Well, they're talking about you and what we can do to make your life better and make your life easier and education easier. My main focus is flip this educational model upside down. Let's do it from the bottom up. Let's support the communities. Let's support the students that need it the most. And that's what we've done through EdKey is we have created 22 different programs with 22 different missions and visions spread out across the entire state of Arizona. So check us out. It's EdKey Inc. And thank you very much, Ed 2.0.
All right, as we conclude the first day of our conference, a heartfelt congratulations to all of our award recipients. Your achievements continue to inspire and motivate us. We would like to express our deep appreciation to Sean K. Shakurami, the founder and CEO of Ophelia, for their generous support as our gold sponsor. As we wrap up today's session, let us also set our sights on what's ahead. The upcoming editions of our conferences in the US and the Dubai promise to be even more exciting, featuring captivating venues, engaging panel discussions, and excellent opportunities for networking. Those interested in learning more should feel free to reach out to either Jatin Sidhu or Shabit Bahal, or you can visit us at the registration desk for more information. Thank you for all who participated today. Remember to share your conference experiences on social media and use that hashtag Education2Conf. We're excited to see you back tomorrow for another great day.